Very good afternoon to all. Welcome to Tally CA Connect. Well, let's jump into our today's topic of discussion, that is enhanced GST compliance in TallyPrime 3.2. Our expert for today is backed by popular demand, Mr. Tax Practitioner Ezhilarasan T. Elitzer is a passionate trainer, particularly in GST and tax procedures for businessmen, tax practitioners, job seekers, and students as well. He is a Tally evangelist and has taken sessions at various forums on Tally and GST as well. We are very happy that Elitzer is available with us for this CA Connect. Let's make the best out of this session. As I could see that there's a question in the chat already, I will request everyone to put in your queries in the Q&A so that we can track your queries and make sure that all of them gets answered.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Komal, for the nice introduction. For the benefit of everyone here, I'm just switching off my camera after a few minutes of this introduction. So let me just quickly brief through on the today's topic of discussion. After the introduction of this TallyPrime release 3.0, I have seen a lot, so many demonstrations and so many exhibitions of this product features. But the clear strength and so many inner strength of this Tally 3.0 has not been experienced, I believe. So that's why I took that initiative. And thanks again to Komal and the entire Tally Evangelist team and the Tally Solutions for arranging this particular session at this needy hour, actually, because this financial year, as all you might have known, that GST is getting more importance on the fine-tuning the entire monthly compliance aspects. For complementing those type of legal requirements, Tally has also made significant efforts and has came out with this latest TallyPrime. So let me quickly get into the subject. My topic of the day is the enhanced GST compliance in latest TallyPrime. So latest, what I mean to say is that TallyPrime, the latest 3.1 and the other higher version, 3.0.1 versions. Yes, here the key areas, as you all might have already experienced, is the multi-GST factor, like a company having multiple GST numbers across India and having different set of books of accounts. For GST sake, they have to maintain books of accounts for respect to GST numbers, and for the income tax sake or for the overall MIS sake of the company, they have to consolidate everything. All these practical hurdles been taken care in the Tally 3.0. Beyond that, my topic of discussion, the agenda of the day is this. I clearly just want to enlighten you on the facts here. The transaction level enhancement, what has been done, particularly in the GST compliance angle, and the amendments and corrections, particularly on the GSTR1 amendments, when we talk about. So how it has been taken care in the TallyPrime latest release. Then the enhancement at the GST returns reporting level. GST return, what I mean here is our regular GST returns, GSTR1 and GSTR3B. Beyond that, I just want you to experience furthermore facilities also for a registration type. We got now regular SEZ, Special Economic Zone registration type. So that is also been taken care by the Tally, the latest Tally, wherein the peculiarity, the transactions at the companies in SEZ zone. All you know, any supply from SEZ zone to the domestic area attracts GST, the GST is paid by the recipient, as in the case of import of goods. Similarly, any supply any supply between the SEZ zone that attracts IGST, all these peculiar compliances is for particularly to the companies in SEZ zone. So that is there, that is also there. So anyway, I am not going to take that in today's discussion. That too, this is just to mark you to understand what are all the enhancements there. Beyond that, so many small things also there. If you have a passion to explore something new, want to explore the new things available in Tally Prime 3, you can find more new things when you really put on hands-on experience over it. Then the agenda continues after the enhancements in GST returns reporting. I will just touch upon you on the GSTR 2A and 2B reconciliation handling. This 2A and 2B reconciliation handling itself, many one of you, many of us are even different people may have different ways of arriving their own reconciliation procedures and formalities. But Tally has taken care most of the practical parameters, all those things. I'll just let you know what are all the things available. Then you have to, after this session, if you find a time and you have the time to experience it in hands-on, then you will find more things than what I am going to exhibit here. Then last but not least, but not the least, the Q&A, question and answer part. Beyond that, as Komal already pointed out, please raise it your questions at the chat and chat box wherever possible, or at the end of the session, before concluding the session, we'll try to touch upon the queries raised in the chat boxes. So thank you. We are getting into the session. Now I am just switching off the camera for the benefit of the people here. Yes. Now, the first topic of the day is transaction level enhancement. Transaction here, what I mean to say is the tax invoices when we want to make, because the first step towards the GST compliance is the GSTR1 compliance. So there, the GSTR1 compliance is having multiple tables of compliance, wherein the B2B segregation, B2C segregation, credit note segregation, so many things are there. Okay. What I am going to say here is the HSN SESC related details. Initially in Tally ERP9 or the later stage TallyPrime, we had this HSN and SESC classification at the master level, like in our inventory information, stock groups or stock items, or in the accounting groups, accounting masters or accounting ledgers, are primarily at the company level features, right? So now it is moved to transaction level enhancement here at Tally Prime 3. Why? How best it is? How it is important? How best it is important? We can see one by one. Then the GST rate related unrelated details. Finally, the type of supply. Okay. So let me just quickly get into the Tally application itself. Okay. Now I am in the Tally application. Let me give you a experience on what is the benefit of putting the HSN SESC related information at the transaction level instead of at the master level. I'm just giving an example of a transaction here just to have the benefit of this particular feature alone. Here, I'm going to enter a transaction for procuring my printing and stationery. So printing and stationery is a common expenditure. Within that, you may have different kind of products, different products with the different HSN or HSN codes and different tax rates. Okay. What was the scenario earlier before this latest TallyPrime is that you might have already experienced it, or all you might have already faced the difficulty over there. Like whenever we put any multiple tax rates in a particular ledger, certainly this transaction goes to the uncertain transactions level, requires some exception corrections at the returns reporting level. Okay, let me just straight away get into the transaction. Here, I'm just giving 10,000 rupees worth of printing and stationery I am procuring. Okay, here, this is what the screen, the latest TallyPrime, which makes me to set the HSN related details here in the transaction itself. I just required every one of you to very much cautious on creating the ledger masters also, wherein earlier in the TallyPrime we were doing all the HSN creation in ledger masters also. Then we also in the ledger masters we used to classify this nature of transaction. So these nature of transaction, this tax rates will always find a difficulty in taking the information to the reports, because most of the cases the multiple values, multiple tax rates end up with the exceptional scenario, that is our uncertain transaction. Here, since I am very much sure and very much confident on saying to my books of accounts that I am going to set the GST rate and HSN at the transaction level. So I am just specify details here. This is the source of the information I am putting. This is one of the peculiar enhancements available in TallyPrime 3. I don't know how many of you have already experienced this, because earlier to this, we had this type of feature. We had this thing in the earlier versions or earlier releases of Tally in the F12 configuration, modify tax rate at the entry level. Modify whatever if we do any modification at the transaction level, that modification will seek you for the override information or anything. Then if you override any information over there, then that goes to the uncertain level. So here I am saying this particular transaction has 5% tax rate, and I say HSN code, don't mistake me on putting some code here. Just for example sake, I am putting here. Then type of supply. Here is also one advancement has come. Earlier in the versions releases, we had this configuration in the stock item master as well as in the ledger master. Particularly this capital goods, we just got it in the ledger master alone. Wherever the ledgers, anything coming under fixed assets, we got this capital goods. Okay. Here at the transaction level itself, in the latest TallyPrime, we are able to configure the type of supply. Yes, here I bought one printing and stationery for 10,000 rupees. that suffers tax at 5%. Okay. With the same classification of ledger, I am here buying yet another product that is in a different percentage. Let's say, for calculation's sake, let it be 10,000. So I am buying this stationery also along with this particular procurement. One is at 5%, another one is 18%. Then this has some different HSN code. Let's say, for example, okay, one is bought at 5%, one is bought at 18%. Okay, obviously my tax should be here. At the first one 5,000 rupees 5%, second one first one 500 rupees 5%, second one 1,800. So totally put together 2,300. That bill may suffer a GST. That 2,300 might be split into 1,150 for CGST, 1,150 for SGST. So expenses vendor, I am just, for the sake of convenience, I am crediting it. So this is my transaction bill-wise information. I am just configuring it to a new reference mode. Okay. Here, when I do this kind of a transaction in the earlier mode of tally release, this will certainly get into the uncertain scenario. But here I will check in the GSTR 3B, in my August return, you see straight away my eligible ITC. Supplier invoice number is not correct. That's why it has come to the, you see, otherwise it will not come to the uncertain area, because in journal I should say this supplier invoice number, right? That is the exception. So the point here is, the lesson here is, the latest version of this TallyPrime is taking care of configuring the HSN SCSE or the GST rates at the transaction level, which bypasses the uncertainty and straight away it gets into the GST return. Because the real practical difficulty over here is, many of us are the chartered accountants, and few of the accountants here would have already experienced, whenever we have the client data, we clear some exceptions, accept or exclude or something. Clearing the exception is one of the headache work. Even if we clear every data, when we copy it and use it in another computer or in the client computer, we need to do all those exceptions in the newer computer. So that's why recording transactions without getting into the basket of uncertain transactions, is the more crucial element in preparing the GST returns here. I hope this everyone can understand this. Can you please reply over in the chat? Or is this particular facility is really useful in the practical environment? Can you play? Can few of you can you respond over here? Is that clearly can you able to understand? Is that able to understand? Yes. Yeah, very useful, practical. Thank you. Yes. So the line of understanding here is as much possible efforts has been taken to eliminate the pain of the transactions getting into the uncertain transaction basket, because clearing uncertain is one of the big tasks. Beyond that, after clearing the uncertainty, when we copy the data and put it in a different set of computer, again the same set of activity has to be done. So I think the bigger headache has been taken out by simply introduction of this particular facility, configuring the HSN SAC related information at the transaction level. So transaction level, to get this configuration at the transaction level, what we have to do initially is this. Here at the ledger itself, I'll just show you the ledger which I have already created it. So in the ledger itself, when we are configuring the GST applicability over here, this HSN SAC related and GST rate and related, all these things, it asks for the list of actions or source of information where it has to pick up. Here, show more button is also there. If you click the show more, then only the specify in voucher will come. So to get the facility of configuring the SAC HSN at the transaction level, the ledger master, whatever ledger, either it is your purchase ledger or your sales ledger or your expenses ledger or anything which has the GST applicability, where we have to configure the specify in voucher option at the HSN SAC details and at the GST rate related details. Okay. One simple request, many of you are raising hands or anything. Sir, please put your questions on the chat box. We are going to browse through the entire things. Then to just complete the entire session within the time without eliminating anything. I just want to interrupt any part of the session. That's what we are continuing. So if you are raising their hands, please put your queries at the chat boxes. Anyway, this session is also getting recorded. We all get it in the YouTube community channel. So anyway, let me just go through the session without any interruption. Thanks for your cooperation. Okay. Yes, this is what our first level strength, transaction level enhancement. Purpose of this HSN SAC GST rate and type of supply at transaction level. The purpose here is, which I already told you, to avoid uncertain transactions. Now Tally data is more reliable to access across different computers. I have also elaborated you about the real difficulty in handling the client data when we clear all the uncertainties. Clearing the uncertainties is nothing but accepting the transaction or excluding whatever the action or correcting the tax rates or anything. Okay. Then the purpose to include these transactions without any exceptions. I also have showed you, but in our example, since I have not mentioned the supplier invoice number and supplier invoice date, it just went into the exception range. But beyond that, for the sake of HSN core or for the sake of GST rate, it doesn't show any uncertainty. Then to enable using single ledger for different HSN and SAC and tax rate. And this is also a vital takeaway, vital point, very crucial point at this moment. wherein I have seen many of us having different ledger accounts for different tax rates. Printing and stationery 5%, printing and stationery 18%, because we want nil uncertainties in our books of accounts. That's what we have been ourselves prepared to have multiple ledgers at multiple level, multiple ledgers, multiple groups for different tax rates. Well, let me take a few of the questions here. Sir, we are creating a ledgers percentage wise, that is right or wrong. That's what I answered here, sir. Saktivel, sir. Please note, this is not at all necessary after the implementation of this TallyPrime 3, because that will have your trial balance being a lengthy trial balance. So just to avoid it, you can have the practice of configuring the tax rates at the transaction level instead of having different tax ledgers. Then another question is kindly explaining if I can enter the ineligible entry along with the ITC entry, the same is on purchase voucher. How can I reverse the ineligible entry? Okay, this is a particularly a different transaction type, sir. Sir, actually, we have a statutory adjustments at journal entry level. So at the journal entry level, we have to take that stat adjustment and specify that reversal of input tax credit or ineligible ITC and put that journal entry. Reversing or making ineligible of a tax ledger would be debiting the particular expenses and crediting the input tax credit ledger. That is the journal entry for that. That we have to make it at the journal with the stat adjustment classification. How the tax percentage automated, sir? Sir, there is no automation, sir, because in the sales alone, we have the automation. In journal entry, voucher type, voucher model, debit credit model, we cannot have this. You already know as far as the structure is concerned. This example is to just the transaction level configuration is just to safeguard us from getting into the uncertainty level alone. Automation, if you want an automation, then get into the accounting invoice mode. No need to go to the voucher mode. Accounting invoice mode, we have automation and gets calculated. Tax rates are getting calculated automatically. Then tally screen visibility. Okay. Then yes, one more question. I'll purchase 31/8/2000, but the materials received. Yes, this is another example. We'll get into that in the later part of these sessions. I'll come to you. As this is a pan-India session. Okay. Yes, sir. That has been taken care. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, we'll continue. At the next level, the next topic of discussion of the day is handling the amendments and the corrections. Okay. I think I have answered the questions here. And one more question that I can enter the ineligible. Yes, I already explained it. Okay. Handling the amendments and corrections. Known GSTR1 amendments are all, you are all well versed in the past 6 years of implementation of GST. What and all the possible amendments? I'll just quickly put you through the practical amendments. The changes in amount, the tax invoices which I have already uploaded in B2B transaction. If we change any amount, if we happen to change any amount or erroneously uploaded values in the GSTR1, then taxability or tax rate changes. Then voucher number, invoice numbers or invoice dates are erroneously done. Then GST number erroneously done. All these amendments are taken care. Then change from B2C to B2B. Yeah, this is one regular amendments which is most of the taxpayers are in need of this thing, because earlier in one part of tax period, let's say at the last year or in the last before month, we might have put one transaction at B2C, but the customer says after knowing after checking at his own portal, he is coming back and telling us, sir, I have the GST number. Why you have not put my bills at the portal? I have to get my input tax credit. So what I have to do, sir? Can you make any correction or amendment? All these things. So for this, we were doing like we have to take his GST number, and we have to make this B2C transaction into B2B transaction. So making the B2B transaction, in a sense, the respective month, the last before month where the entry has been made, I have to make that B2B transaction, and also I have to roll back my B2C values in my GSTR1 table, the GSTR1 B2C table. So this is the amendment. Okay, many of you would have already experienced these sort of amendments. So let me just quickly give you how here we are going to handle it new TallyPrime. Okay, so the thumb rule, the procedure are simple. Here we have a fantastic facility of mark as signed facility. Mark as signed facility. I'll show you where it is. Here, when it is a GSTR1 or GSTR3B, I'm just showing it in a GSTR1 screen. Here, at the right button part of the screen, we have marked as signed, F10 is there. This is one of the new facility. This is the finest facility in TallyPrime. Or you can recollect what we had in earlier VAT regime. Saving a return in that VAT, whatever VAT forms. Okay. Similarly, the same functionality with some enhanced facility, depending on the latest amendments and corrections, is possible in GSTR, this latest TallyPrime. Earlier, what we did is, once we finalize all our returns, we just want to put a pin over that so that no changes, or if any changes, that changes has to be tracked down. At least we should have some copy of what was the summary which we have reported and what is that relevant entries to that particular reported transactions. So that same option, the earlier VAT regime in Tally ERP and earlier Tally ERP served that purpose, but unfortunately we were not able to get the initial days of GST in the GST returns that save facility. So due to that, the real bottleneck, the real practical difficulty emerged over that is, we as a consultant or practitioner, or the chartered accountants, get the data every month, the data from the client side. They just pass it on to the auditor's office. We do some sort of corrections, and we in turn send back the data after filing the data fine tuning that, sir, this is what the final return figures, GSTR1 figures, GSTR3B figures. Don't make any changes, sir, because that is to be carried for till the end of the financial year. So when finalizing the income tax reports, we should carry these things. We have to match, and we have to multiple reporting. We are going to take the GST or GST returns, sales figures, GST return, input tax credit figures, all those things we are going to match it with the income tax return, sir. So don't change it, sir. With this precaution, we give it back to the clients. But what was happening in the real scenario is due to some genuine reason or for deliberate reason, people used to do some corrections or changing over these things in the earlier data what was already been uploaded. This we cannot track it down earlier. In the VAT, we had some save this thing and save button. If we go to the save report, and we can have the breakup at least. But here in TallyPrime, it is coming up with the enhanced facility marked as saved. Let's say I'm just marking it as saved. So if I mark as signed, when I should do this mark as signed? I should do this mark as signed? Let me just give you the various stages of returns. We have the first 10th or 11th of every month, we have this GSTR1 facility. GSTR1 filing procedure. Fine. We are uploading, or if you are with the e-invoicing capability, e-invoice applicability, all your B2B transaction will automatically populated in your GSTR1. So I have to check it out, all the B2B transaction and B2B credit notes. I have to check it out in the portal. Then I have to fill it up the B2C values. Then I have to give the HSN values, document summary, and finally check the summary of the GSTR1. Then I have to file and get a OTP, EVC or DSC, digital signature, and submit, and return. After submission, I have to get the ARN for submission. So after this submission, after this EVC is the time we have to mark this report as marked as signed. Mark as signed. Okay, mark as signed. By mark as signed is it asks for the mark current return as signed. So I'm please be sure mark as signed facility has to be used only at the time of only after submitting your returns, because there may be some changes. In between the marking, because two ways of amendments here. Before submitting the return, before filing the GSTR1, there may be some changes. So before signing the return, we can edit the transaction, we can delete any entries, all these things. Similarly, that is be taken care entirely. That is what I just want to correlate between the actual filing scenario as well as the latest TallyPrime handling here, particularly this marked as signed facility, because till signing I can edit in the same period return, I can delete anything in the same period return. The same thing in TallyPrime, the latest TallyPrime, because till signing, if I change anything, it will go to mark for deletion. Say for example, I am just converting this Tally customer into, sorry, I am changing this. You are changing the party ledger. You want to update the party address and everything. Yes. This customer ledger is unregistered consumer. doesn't have any GST number. If I change my B2B bill into B2C, okay, so this is again goes to the uncertain, sorry. Yes, it has been changed to B2C. There is no amendment needed at this part. Okay. So if I go to the changes after marked as signed, let me just show it. I'm just reverting back to the original point. Okay. Now it is there in your B2B. Okay. Till now, I have not submitted my return for August. Submitted my return for August. If I submit it, mark as signed, because my GSTR1 time limit has gone, so I have submitted it. Okay. Then after submission, if I go and change this, the same thing. After submission, if I go and change this, then it goes to the mark for deletion in portal. Then again, this is an uncertainty. After signing, you are doing the correction. Okay. Let me come back to the amendments correction part. So to handle this amendments and corrections, various scenarios of amendments and corrections we have seen: changing the amount, changing the date, or changing the invoice number, changing the GST number. All these things we have done already. We have already done directly in the GSTR1 portal. Now, how we are going to do in TallyPrime, we are going to see. The procedure are the same. So till mark is signed, Tally will take care of all the changes within that same period alone. If it is mark as signed, when we have to mark as signed, we have after submission, after getting the EVC, we have to mark it as signed. Okay. Then automatically moves it to the transaction, uncertain transactions. The uncertain transactions, we have to set the return effective date over there. I'll just give you a small example of transaction, or let me get into a transaction with some multiple entries over here. Yes. This is a data where I have multiple GST. All you already know in GSTR, sorry, in our latest TallyPrime, we have multiple GST can be taken care in one particular tally. So here, for the sake of our convenience, understanding, we had this many number of GST number in one particular tally data. So this first data we are taking here. Just a minute. Okay, let me take another data here. Okay. Because that data is in different period. This new data is different period. So let me come out of this data and relog in once again. Okay. a conflict of period is coming there. So therefore, I just reloaded the data here. Okay. I think it is a data for a 2B reconciliation. That's what this GSTR1 is not here. We will take any of this. Just a minute. Okay. Yes. August. Yes. For the sake of demo, we just add a few transactions. Okay. Here, in the B2B transactions, let me come to the amendment part here. To recap what we have discussed, I told you the amendments, corrections, we have to do the amendments and corrections. We have to do once after submission of GSTR1. What we did in the regular scenario, what we did in the regular filing of GSTR1, we go to the subsequent month of GSTR1 and go to the amended B2B table. We usually go to the amended B2B table. We used to give the invoice number. We used to select the financial year and we used to select the respective month. We used to select the financial year and we used to give the invoice number, tax invoice number. So once we give the tax invoice number, the data will be very picked from the original invoice data already filed. Then whatever changes want to make, either it is a different GST number or the values, anything to be changed, we do it. Okay. So this is the usual way we do it. But in TallyPrime, for signing, as I told you, I should mark as signed. So I am marking it as signed. So this marking it as signed is making sure that after EBC, after OTP of particular, after getting the OTP, so I have to make it as mark as signed. Okay. Now let me get into one particular transaction. There is one company, Navabharat something. So I am just changing that company. So changing that company. So now that particular transaction is not here. That automatically goes to the uncertain transaction. That is what my saying here. I have marked the return as signed. After sign, I marked as signed. If I make any changes in the transaction, it goes directly to the uncertain transaction. Okay. The uncertain transaction here, get into that uncertain transaction that says you invalid or missing information. Effective date of the amendment is not specified. So the setting up effective date is the new facility, new feature that takes care of your amendment in the subsequent returns. Okay. Since I have changed the customer name here, that I cannot make since the return has been filed. Since the return has been filed, I cannot change in the current return. So in the subsequent return, I have to make, because the transaction is on May. So let's say, so I can select it or set the effective date. Instead of 5th May, I say it is June, the next month. See what happened here. Okay. Amendment marked for future returns. Please be sure I'm going slowly, because many of us, after getting into this TallyPrime Release 3, knowing these, seeing all these new phrases or seeing all these new terminologies, we always have some sort of an hesitancy to getting into the details of it. But I just put some sort of a patience and understanding what was there. That's what I keep on re-emphasizing the same thing to all of you here, because you also find many findings over it. Here, the amendments marked for future returns. Future returns in the sense, in the June month return, okay, you see here, it automatically comes to, since I set the effective date in June return, it directly comes to the amended B2B invoices. So this will automatically gets to your amendment B2B. Is that point is clear at this point? Because so many things are there. I don't want to put you in a mess of explaining all the facilities are running through all the features and everything. I just want every one of you to understand one by one. And just give me quickly here, your B2B transaction is amended. Okay. How effectively the TallyPrime is taken care? Can you able to understand this? Because the amendment goes to the amendment table. Okay. Sir is asking about B2B to B2C. B2B to B2C. So I just want you to ask one more question on this particular part. Sir, really we will have the scenario for converting from B2C to B2B, because there won't be any scenario for B2B to B2C, because in the recent GSTR1, once the GST number is invalid or not active or no such GST number, we cannot upload any B2B invoices. So therefore, there cannot be any scenario of changing, amending values from B2B to B2C. I think Venkatesh got this point, I believe. Then beyond that, from B2C to B2B, yes, by converting this, I'll show, by converting this, what it has to do actually. B2C to B2B, it should not go to the amendment part. It should go to the B2B invoices part. B2B invoices part. Yes, it is doing. Yes, it is doing. When I convert after signing, after market has signed, when I convert the B2C transaction into B2B transaction, yes, B2B is getting uploaded in the original date of invoice to the B2B table. But B2C values has to be reduced. No, that part, truly speaking, I have not experienced it. Let me actually, the B2B is getting uploaded, but B2C, we have to check it out. B2C, that particular month, B2C values has to be reduced to that extent of B2C conversion to B2B invoice. Okay, so let me just get into the presentation. Yes. So the point here to note is this. The point here is marking as signed, where we have to make the returns as marked as signed. At what juncture? At what juncture? Like at the time of submitting the return, getting the year end of your monthly return. After that, you have to mark it as signed. Okay. All activities after marking it as signed will automatically trigger you to the uncertain transactions. The uncertain transactions, we have to go and put the set the effective date of return. Effective date of return. Okay. There are some don'ts in GSTR1 amendment. Yes. What is that? What is that? Department does not allow amendment second time in GSTR1. Do you know? Do you know that? Yes, sir. A B2B transaction can be amended only once. Only once. It cannot be amended second time. Okay. What happens if you do it the same? TallyPrime moves that invoices to uncertain transaction, even on second time, third time, whatever. But it will not upload it. It will not get uploaded because it is a second time amendment. So we have to revert it back to the previous one because it is not at all possible for the GSTR1 itself, the second time amendment. So for the sake of our practice, don't never ever try amendments as at twice, thrice, or anything, and don't come up with, sir, Tally is not working with this type of amendment. Please be sure, because the amendment after the first amendment is not at all possible in the GST returns itself. Okay, what is that? Can we cancel a bill? Is asking. Actually, sir, for cancellation, e-invoice and e-way bill, there is a time limit of 24 hours. Beyond that 24 hours, we cannot cancel any bills, no, sir. So cancellation is not possible. As per law itself, it's not possible. Cancellation is only by way of raising a credit note only. So this is what our law regulates. That's what. So, though we have a facility at Tally to cancel or anything, but the law regulates us to put a credit note for all sort of cancellation beyond that 24 hours or anything. So since most of us are coming into the bracket of e-invoicing, particularly after this 1st of August, most of us are within that bracket. So there is no question of cancelling the B2B transactions. Okay. So I think you are able to get the point. Then enhancements in GST returns reporting. What is that? New facilities at GST returns. So many are experts. Few of you here might be very much experienced. What and all I am teaching here, what and all I am elaborating here, you would have already experienced it. You would have already been more experienced than this. Anyway, let me just recap here. The new facilities are the amendment in GSTR1. Okay. Voucher with the pending actions in other report. Okay, I'll just show that screen. You see, in this return screen itself, GSTR1 return screen itself, in the top right corner, the vouchers applicable for current period and other period. Two boxes are coming here. This is the new way of presentation in this latest TallyPrime. As you all know, this latest TallyPrime takes care of amending things in future period. Also in GSTR 2A and 2B, carry forward of your current unreconciled transactions, all these things. Okay. Okay. There is a chat question. Sir, e-invoice is generated and need to be cancelled after 24 hours. We can change the bill to 0 as fields manually. when we file GST around. Is that correct? It's not correct, sir. It's not correct. It's not as per law, sir. Do not do such kind of thing. Okay. Okay. Then one more small question in the Q&A box. I think using TallyPrime 3 and also migrated data, but this data not opening in Tally ERP 9. Certainly, sir, this is a thumb rule for any software upgrade. Even in Tally, we would have already experienced it. If you have upgraded, if you have come to the latest version, you cannot downgrade. You cannot go back to the older version, sir. That is the main thumb rule of any application, any software, sir. That's what. Something like we have been grown up every year. We can grow to a higher age only. We cannot go down to our earlier ages. No, that's the plain understanding. Now, as I told you, the new look of this TallyPrime, the new look of TallyPrime comes up with this voucher counts, voucher applicable for current period or other periods. Other periods is coming. Why this is? Because so we have a new facility of amendment. We have the new facility of carrying over our unreconciled transaction, all these things. Okay, that is what the upper part of this particular return screen has been done with this. Then amendment lines, these also new to the TallyPrime latest release. Earlier we do not have this amendments part. Only we had the B2B, B2C sections alone in the earlier Prime or Tally ERP9 sections. Now it has been elaborately taken care. These are all the new things. Then again, these options: ready for export, not exported, modified in books after export, modified in books after exports. Yes, this is a color. No, this color they are this amber color they are telling. Yes, the amber color. Whatever in the amber color, no, that always indicates you the action to be taken. Action to be taken. Whatever this voucher count is not ready for export, it's not exported, right? Once we export the return, that goes to the no action required. No action required in normal black color. So if anything in the amber color, that indicates some sort of action needs to be done for uploading the transaction. Okay, that is what this thing. Then new phrases: ready for export, not exported, modified, books after export is there, the latest this thing. Then moved to other return period. I told you the what to say, the amendments moved to other period for amendments. Even the unreconciled unreconciled transactions in ITC reports are 2B, 2A also moved to other periods. Then additional pending actions at GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B. Then the most crucial part in the Tally Prime, the latest Tally Prime, as far as the 3B is concerned, is this new arrangement of table 4 eligible ITC. Let me quickly give you a importance of this new table 4 contents of GSTR 3B. What does it mean? All you know, by last year, June or July, I'm not clear about the month, a new guideline, new procedure, new notification has come to us explaining the various fields of various fields at table 4 of GSTR 3B particularly on handling the other details at the ITC reversal part, particularly at 4 capital B1 and 4B capital 2, also 4B capital 1, 4B1, 4B2, 4B1, 4B2. There is a specific explanation and circular giving the detailed analysis of these fields over that is being taken care in the latest TallyPrime. One simple thing is in the 4D2 we had this ineligible ITC not available portion. ITC not available portion restricted due to place of supply rules. Restricted due to place of supply rules. What does it mean? This Pune Force Private Limited is a company, is at Maharashtra. I am a company at Karnataka. When I sell a product, when I take a credit, when I want to take a credit, I should take IGST if it is another state. Or I can able to take credit if it is within Karnataka, I can able to take CGST as SGST. So CGST, SGST of other state cannot be taken as input tax credit. No, that is forming part of a 4 capital D2 of table 4 GSTR 3B. So that is also well taken, well considered as far as the latest guidelines, well taken in the latest TallyPrime. So I hope the amended procedures was actually implemented. Hopefully, I think from Jan 23, I believe, all our GSTR 3B comprise of this sort of changes. I think now Tally has taken care of this thing. Beyond this 4, even that 4 capital B1, as per rule 38, 42, 43 and 17 subsection 5, because this 17 subsection 5 ineligible ITC, earlier in the table 4, it has come down, it was represented in the below area at capital D part. Now it has been clubbed into that 4B1, also ineligible credit. This is also the redesign of table 4 is well taken, well considered at the latest TallyPrime, I believe. Okay. Now the new facility is continuing at the GST return part. I am just giving you few things alone. I am not explaining the entire new things. There are so many new things at this TallyPrime Release 3. So we have to find some time. Certainly, we should have some patient time to understand and execute these things and understand what is there, because lots and lots of things have changed here, and many crucial, useful things are there. All the sections that require your action will be highlighted in amber color. I told you already. The black color means you need not want to do anything. If it is in amber color, yes. So there is one thumb rule also here. Before expo, after clearing all your exceptions, corrections, make sure this amber color voucher count are 0. Amber color voucher count are 0, so that to upload the correct returns. After correcting everything, that goes to the ready for export. Ready for export. After export, even that move to no actions required. I'll show that. Okay, here we go to the Telangana. Here, May. Okay, so ready for export is here. Once it is ready for export, I can export it from export menu, GST returns export. Once I export it, all these transactions for the return period is exported to JSON file. Once it is exported, you see no actions required. It goes to the no actions required. Even not exported, two things are there. So you can go and see what is, it is for other period, I believe. So that's what I can. One thing, I just want everyone to be very much cautious on handling this F12 configurations also. There are so many smaller changes there in the F12 configurations on each one of the screens also. So please be sure and on the latest TallyPrime. Okay, the new facilities continues. We have to ensure that the voucher count of such transaction is 0. That's what I told you. Then after export of GSTR1 return, voucher count moved to no actions required. No actions required. Then GSTR 2A and 2B reconciliation handling. So here, since the lack of time, I'm just highlighting you few of the main points alone. So it is your interest and your passion towards the application. So I invite your patience and everything to get more things, and you can experience hands-on, and you can find more whatever beyond whatever I said here. Beyond this thing, you can experience much more things. And what is special in the latest GSTR 2A and 2B reconciliation at TallyPrime? I'll just quickly highlight what is special here. Carry forward of the unreconciled transactions to future periods without altering the voucher date. What we did in the earlier days, what we did, since if my transaction is not found in the particular month GSTR 2A or 2B, I'll do simply I'll change the voucher date and postpone to the subsequent month. This you need not want to do here without affecting the. Okay, there is a question here first. Okay, I'll come to the question once I finish it, because the time is a few more minutes are there. I'll come to the question. Okay. Then both 2A and 2B JSON recognized for reconciliation here. Earlier we had a confusion what to take, but from Jan 22 we had a clear-cut guideline, and the respective law and act and the rules 2B has to be followed. So yeah, for Tally, since we have data from the olden days, since the inception of the GST, so we need to reconcile with the 2A as well as 2B. Therefore, both compatibility is with the latest TallyPrime. So your JSON file downloaded from portal can be imported into TallyPrime and can be matched. Okay. Additional parameters to avoid mismatches and to make reconciled. So what are all those additional parameters? What are all those additional parameters? I'm just getting into 2A, 2B reconciliation here. 2A, 2B reconciliation here. I'm just getting into the Karnataka, this thing. We have already imported this thing. Already the data, the JSON imported from the GST portal highlighted in blue color here. Yes, the additional parameters. Additional parameters here are the matching the transaction by ignoring the differences in books and portal. Here, I can specify a value up to some 5 rupees or 2 rupees or 3 rupees or the decimals, even 1 rupee, whatever your desired value, I can eliminate the differences. Then after setting the value, here the value applicable to what? Whether it's to the taxable value or the tax amount or the invoice amount or tax amount, taxable amount, as well as the invoice amount. So we have to do it. Okay. Yes. Then the additional parameters I am talking about, then ignoring the difference when the value in books. Yes, it could be greater or less than the portal value, greater than the portal value, or less than the portal value. Yes. Okay. Here is the GST report menu. I am just getting into the GSTR 2B. I want to reconcile the August month GSTR 2B. We have import menu here. Import menu here. Under the import menu, GST returns is there. When I select the GST returns, it asks for the return type. Even for GSTR1 JSON, I can download JSON and match it with my books of accounts. Please try this. I am not going to experience this here, but you please try this. Okay. GSTR2B, we have the files here. Select from drive. I select from drive. JSON files is here. Okay. Here, I have already downloaded the JSON file. It's there. So from the or GST portal, 2B can be downloaded in Excel format as well as the JSON file. Also, the 2A can be downloaded in JSON file. So I have downloaded the JSON file. I am just giving the file path and selecting the downloaded JSON file. So once I download the JSON file, it is automatically get into the Tally data here. I think this is the question Bhumika Patel has asked. Yes. The transaction has been imported into Tally. I think now you are clear. From the 2A or 2B return screen, import menu, we have GST return. In that GST return, first the GST number and the return type, then file path, then download the JSON. Well, JSON, I have to download manually from the portal. Then I have to download it here. In this GSTR 2B reconciliation, as I already told you, the amber color are values which show the action to be done areas. Okay, then reconciled means reconciled in black color, so no action required over there. Only the unreconciled portion require actions, so that is in amber color. Okay, then in the particular part, we have ITC input tax credit available one portion. In that, we have part A one thing, part B another thing is there. Part B is there. Part B is reversal of available ITC. This is more of a credit notes and the stuff. Then we have ITC input tax credit unavailable. Unavailable in the sense ITC not available portion. For capital D2 part, which is nothing but the input credit of the other state. Input credit of the other state. And the input tax credit which are not available due to section 16 subsection 4 restriction, that is invoices uploaded beyond the particular point of time. The time limit now in the law is 30th November. After 30th November, anything is uploaded for the previous years, recently ended previous year, that is not taken care, that is not available ITC. So those things are ITC unavailable available portion. Here we have an input credit in the other state. So in our TallyPrime reconciliation screen, we have two things. One is ITC available, another one is ITC unavailable. Both have two parts, part A and part B. Part A is available ITC, part B is credit note related things. Then part A, get into that. Okay. Here B2B invoices and debit notes are there. Then any amendments in debit notes, everything is also being taken care. You see here, the debit notes, all the informations are pakka. Therefore, it is automatically set to reconciled status. Okay. So the informations are pakka. So therefore, it is reconciled status. Get into the B2B. Here, in this Suraj Enterprises, let's take one particular supplier. I have this many classifications under 2B reconciliation. One is mismatched, and mismatch in return period, because in the portal the value shows the invoice the date shows 1st August, but in my entry I said it is 1st September. When I say 1st August, it should match. When I say the 1st August, it should match. Otherwise, I have to make it reconciled manually. Okay. Then available only in books. Only in my book has this entry, but my supplier is not uploaded it. Okay. Then available only in portal. Then I have excluded but available in portal. This is one of the new functionality facility available in TallyPrime, latest Prime. I excluded means I might have excluded for whatever reasons, due to some ineligibility part, or due to some any non-fulfilling conditions of ITC availment. I can exclude this thing. Even I exclude, my counterparty might have uploaded it, that might come in the portal. So if that be the case, that is also been, this is one of the very needed thing, because most of us may not know on seeing the overall report whether we have excluded this thing or we have included for availing ITC as this. If it is excluded, we can say rightly say this is ineligible, that's what I excluded. Then reconciled part is it at the bottommost part. Reconciled is nothing but all the information which are clearly matching with the portal. This is how the classification is automatically considered based on the book entries with the downloaded JSON file. So I hope this kind of matching reduces more than half of our work, because mostly even in that I just want you to experience few other things in this screen. Particularly, each and every screen has different configuration. No, in this particular screen we have configured, that is the screen which I am mentioning is from the GSTR 2B initial level, from the GSTR 2B reconciliation screen, drilling down from the available ITC level, and further drill down to the B2B invoices, and further drill down to particular supplier. In that, if you press F12, there is a new facility called potential matches between books and portal. Potential matches between books and portal. So if I select that, potential matching will also be a separate heading. Potential matching, excluding the document number. There may be we usually end up with confusions in document number specification. Our supplier would have given some 8 or 10 digit with alphanumeric or some suffixes, anything with invoices, but he would have uploaded with some numeric values alone. So we do not know what was uploaded. We might have entered with some values. So these sort of corrections, these sort of mismatches are huge at the time of 2A and 2B reconciliation. So to avoid those things, the potential mismatch facilities can be configured, and I can match it. So by checking this values here, if I say what is matched with this, so if I say this is matched, 101 is matched, 101 is not at all here, 109 is there, 108 is, even though the values are same, the respective invoice number is not there. So though the suggestion is there, I cannot accept this, I cannot reconcile it. So this sort of facility helps you to separately list down what are the potential matches and all. So this is one of the additional facility in our 2A and 2B reconciliation. So by going by one headings available in 2A, 2B, we can do this thing. And one more thing, if I found one thing is matched annually, if I, wherever only let's say if I find any uncertainty, some mistakes in the values which I found it is mismatch, it is mismatch in my side, I can correct as per by checking the portal value. I can correct the same and I can accept. I can accept the thing and I can accept the thing and set the status as reconciled. So, for example, we'll get into the another part. Okay. So Suraj set the GST status as reconciled. There are 3 status are there: reconciled, excluded, or mismatched. So I can manually say reconciled. I can say manually reconciled. So that transaction will come to the reconciled manually. Okay. Then one more thing. In the F11 feature, we have a configuration for this reconciliation part. So here the configuration is this. In your F11 screen, go to the GST feature level. In the GST feature level, more feature is there. More features is there. There we have reconciliation configuration. So this reconciliation configuration, what does it mean? What does it mean? This says use voucher number and date as supplier invoice number and date. If you have a practice of giving the manual voucher number, similarly what was there in the supplier invoice number, instead of having it a separate reference number, if you have the practice of maintaining in voucher number, then you have to set this as yes, so that to reconcile easily. Then ignore zeros if prefixed in document number. So you might have taken eliminating the 0 values, but the party might have uploaded with the 0 values. So in the numeric part, if you want to exclude the 0 values and to match it, then you can set this feature as yes. Then ignore special characters if used in supplier document number. These are all some practical scenarios where we can end up with mismatch of transactions. To avoid these things, Tally has given wide range of parameters in the configuration. Okay, and this configuration can be accessed through F11 feature. This configuration can be accessed through F11 feature, F12 configuration. we have show registration name, place of supply. Below to that, voucher number, date as supplier invoice number, and zero, eliminating zeros and ignoring the special characters. All these things are available. Also, as I already told you, it is available in more details also. More details also. Even in the more details, we have history of reconciliation concept configuration is also there. Then in the ledger level, we have a facility. There are lots of changes, but I'll just I'm just pinpointing this because of only relevant to the reconciliation part. There, for a particular supplier ledger, I can say ignore prefixes and suffixes in document number for reconciliation. If I say yes, then it asks for another separate boxes where it says ignore prefix and suffixes in document number for reconciliation, applicable from which date, which prefix and which suffixes has to be ignored. Okay, these are all the additional facilities. The new facility at 2A, 2B is excluded but available in portal is there. Potential mismatches I have shown you. Ignoring mismatches, values of new parameters I told you. Then handling vouchers at other period. Okay, handling other period. Yes, I'll show this. Here, my invoice is not available at this particular what to say. My counterparty has not uploaded in the particular month, but or belatedly he has uploaded. Because of his delay, my returns got sorry, my values are not available in the portal, so I can postpone it. So how I can postpone this? So by setting the effective date, by rightmost part, I have set effective date. I can set the return period as the future period. If this entry is found in the subsequent months, I can change the return period without changing the voucher date. What we did in the earlier days for carrying forward the unreconciled vouchers, we have changed all the voucher dates. Now it is not at all required. You can just say the return effective date. Set the return effective date as the future date. So in that particular tax period, again, this older entries will be carried forward. In that particular month, I can reconcile with the respective Ruby. So you all know after 11th, if any GSTR1 is uploaded, then we cannot have the 2P values in the particular tax period. It will come in the subsequent tax period. That's what the setting up effective date will be very much useful in the 2A, 2B carry forward of unreconciled transactions, to carry forward of unreconciled transaction to other periods. Then new parameters at basis of values I also shown you. Then other enhanced capabilities as TallyPrime is, as I already told you, regular SEZ facility. This you have to experience since the time is running out. I'm just quickly pinpointing you and just enlightening you to take it forward further. You please experience hands-on, try yourself. Various new options at ledger master creation, track GST return, another facility, reverse charge supplies at other reports is there. New improved annual computation where this interest, late fee, penalty, and other things are being configured. Then arrangement of GST utilities menu at the GST reports is there. So, and much more is there. Don't hesitate to get into TallyPrime latest release 3. So now we are coming to the end of the session. Now I'll just look at the questions over here, what and all possible. Komal, can we go by another 5 minutes?
Yes, sir, for sure. So most of the questions in the chat is already done.
Okay.
Just the Q&A part, if you can just go to the first one. Is that answered by Mr. Vikash? Ineligible entry along with the ITC entry?
Can you please help me down with that particular?
Should I read out the question, sir?
Please.
Okay, the first question, kindly explain if I can enter the ineligible entry along with the ITC entry, the same in one
that
purchase.
I have answered. That I have answered.
Okay.
That I have answered. Ineligibility, see, journal, statutory adjustment, that is a specific entry over there. Debit your particular expenses, credit your input tax credit ledger.
Okay. What if e-invoice is not applicable and one of the B2B invoice is reduced to 0 in the next month in GSTR 1?
Again, I couldn't
Mr.
get you.
Mr.
Where from
Yogi,
you are reading these things?
if you can see near the participants, there's Q&A left. It shows 5 open questions.
Q&A, right?
Q&A, yes.
What if the e-invoice is not applicable? One of B2B invoice is reduced to 0. No, it is not possible. I have also answered it. You cannot make it 0 or this thing. Okay. One of my client raised invoice to their party on yesterday, 5/9/23, and that party, the GST RC cancelled on yesterday, time to so and so effective date. Now I cannot cancel the invoice and also cannot issue credit note. What I want to do? What I want? I don't know why it is not cancelling. Cancelling doesn't have any validation at all. Anyway, you try it. Otherwise, you make yourself as a credit note, record your credit note, and make a fresh B2C invoice over it. Cancellation has to happen. I don't know what. Otherwise, you please contact the respective help sector of the invoice. Then Control Alt R on Control Alt rewriting option. Sir, that is out of our subject, sir. We can rewriting data. It's again with some precautions we have to make it. How to fix the interest and late filing fee in GSTR? How to fix? Sir, you need not want to fix it, sir. It is automatically calculated in respect to subsequent GSTR 3B, sir. Only we have to make respect to entries in Tally, sir. Then, is there any option to open Prime 3 data? No option, sir. Nothing. As I had told you, I cannot go back to my older age. I can, it is a thumb rule for any software upgradation, sir. So I have to come out. I can upgrade it to newer version, but I cannot downgrade, sir. This is a thumb rule to anyone. Okay. Then I think Q&A is over. Q&A questions are over.
Yeah, I think one last question in the chat, if you address that. How do we change the status?
How do we change the status from mismatched or unmatched to matched status? Okay, just a minute. Sir, I have shown you here. Set return status, I showed you, no? Set GST status. Set GST status. Sir, I think your question answered here. Available only in books. There in the cursor, I am setting GST status, pressing space bar and reconciled. Then it gets into the reconciled or excluded mode, whatever. Yes. Next.
Yeah, I think, sir, prior to that, you have covered this. I think Bhumika ma'am
Okay.
was last. How do we do 2A, 2B, RECO and Tally? Yeah. So that's, I think you've been talking continuously, answering all the queries. We already have a compliment from Bhumika ma'am. She says nice session. So I think we have addressed all the queries, and I will definitely upload the video in a day or two in our community section so that people can revisit and more people can benefit from this session. So thank you so much, LL sir, for your time and for such a superb session and answering all the queries. I will now end the session. Thank you.